What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Talk of the Tundra, your Green Bay Packers podcast that is a proud partner of the Eurostep Podcast Network and the Blue Wire family. I am your host, Numac, and joining me to talk about this, uh, I'll just say hilarious Packers win, is my lovely co-host, Jordan Trusky. Jordan, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. Um, yeah. What more can you say when the unthinkable happens? Almost.
uh, I'll start off the pod by calling it hilarious, as I said, because the cackle that I let out when that happened was like the most carnal, the most instinctual thing I think I've done around football in quite some time. It was very, very funny that the Packers block Cairo Santos' game-winning field goal to win 20-19 over the Chicago Bears uh, on a drive that they probably should have lost on for all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
They flounder on 3rd and 19. They let Caleb Williams kind of run all over him all day, and then shout out Rich Bisaccia, Karl Brooks, and the rest of the team finding a hole in the Bears field goal unit and getting in and getting a block at the most crucial time. But my word, what a way to win a football game!
We could thank Karl Brooks's middle finger
Yeah,
for blocking the field goal. And it felt very apropos to Bears fans that were
yes sir.
ready. Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to kind of get caught up in the moment of the Packers winning on a blocked field goal, like as time expires, and a field goal that obviously would have won the Bears game, the football game.
Yep.
Um, it's pretty crazy. It like legitimately was. It felt so fast. I know Tom Brady, when he was describing it, um, broadcasting the game could announce it better than I can. So yeah.
He wasn't great today. I won't say he was
No, it
terrible.
was really bad,
I was
really
I
bad.
didn't think he was terrible, but yeah, he wasn't good for sure.
No, and I've been more like I'm saying prefacing this as someone that is finds now it's a sports media section to cover Tom Brady's performance as a broadcaster because he's Tom Brady. He's this massive superstar quarterback, the greatest winner possibly in NFL history, not possibly is, and commands such fame that we have to comment every day. Like we have to do a Tom Brady progress report. And it is infuriating to me that is like I don't know. I could talk plenty about sports media and how we divide our attention towards stuff that does not matter in the long run. Anything that takes us away from the games, we talk more about than the actual game itself. So let's go back to the game
Yeah.
and Tom Brady's announcing of the game, which felt like a Peloton trainer, like having access to a microphone for 3.5 hours. That's what it felt like for most of today. It was just bizarre. And again, I'm not as harsh on him. I think everybody deserves to grow into their role, especially when you're used to seeing him and probably wanting him to lose every football game imaginable. And he's like, nope, I'm gonna keep winning. And when you find something that he's not the greatest or most polished at, everybody kind of relishes to,
Yeah.
take some shots. But in this case, it was really warranted because I'm laughing watching the game and hearing him say just like what? Like ridiculous thing like just these ridiculous things are just happening.
Mm-hmm.
Even so they're playing back the Karl Brooks blocked field goal
Yep.
and he says something about Karl Brooks, the jump that he's making, the way the linemen were really low to the ground. He kind of just used them as like a kind of like a stepping stone, like
Mm-hmm.
a step ladder to jump for the decisive moment. But he in his like very shrill like in the huddle, I'm gonna like dress players down because they dropped the ball or like that kind of voice. He's like, "You can't take it for granted." And it's just like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Just talk about, Karl Brooks doing this, decisive moment, rising to the occasion, literally. And yeah, it was just like just took me out of like me being like the Packers won this game by the skin of their teeth, and Tom Brady's like, you take it for granted. Like this,
Yeah, he wasn't good. But let's talk more about the game because it was ugly for sure. Leading up to that Karl Brooks kick,
yeah,
I think we have to start with Josh Jacobs. I think he, without a doubt, was the highlight of today's game. He didn't like light up the stat sheet. Uh, no, numbers don't really pop off the page, but 18 carries, 76 rushing yards, 4 catches, 58 receiving yards. One of those comes on a pretty significant 23-yard gain. I think in the second half, if I'm not mistaken. But so in total, over 100 yards all purpose, including a touchdown on the ground. We talked about it in our preview pod. Like, you can run against this Bears team, and that's exactly what happened today. And I think, like, it was really good that Packers got the running game going. It almost felt like, though, they didn't really capitalize enough off of the running game working as well as it did. You didn't see a whole lot of like play action pass. You didn't see a whole lot of uh, stuff utilizing the run game and like to further the passing game because Jordan Love only had 17 attempts today, 13 to 17,
yeah, that
261 for the touchdown and a pick, and so like he was I'll say quiet day for Jordan Love because I mean I think what 150 of those came probably close to, I shouldn't say 150, probably 60. No, I'll say 100. 100 of those yards came on two passes to Christian Watson. The one in the fourth quarter, the big play, the 60 yarder that Christian Watson dove for, got up and ran for another 40 yards, and then the bomb down the field into double coverage, I think were like the two biggest plays of the game for the Packers, and those were both to Christian Watson, and they were both for pretty decent gains. So if you take away those 100 yards, which like you can't really take them away, but if you take away two passes, 160 yards is I'd say a quiet day for Jordan Love. But first, I want your thoughts on Josh Jacobs.
I thought Jacobs was really good. I thought the opening drive really set the tone. This again, like the offense is really humming today for the length of the field, like the 20 to 20. Yeah, I mean, um, like looking at other stats, like
I'd
eight
even
point,
say like they were pinned back a couple times and they did just fine getting to the
they
red
had no
zone.
problem. 8.5 yards per play, 43 plays, 366 yards. You mentioned Jordan Love is 261 passing yards. Josh Jacobs 76 rushing yards, and then I think it was what 58. Sorry, 58 receiving yards. So 100 math on the fly. I'm really good at it. 134 or 124?
For Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, 124 total
124.
yards. There we go. Um, of offense. And I thought he kind of set the tone. And obviously, he scored the opening drive, set the
34.
tone for
134. We got it. It's 134.
son of a gun. 134 yards of total offense, but set the tone for um obviously how the offense looked. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was a very I have to reveal. Obviously, I'm catching up to these games after the fact. So when I see the Packers won 20 to 19, they won on a blocked field goal. I'm like, well, this is an ugly mess. And there were ugly moments for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think it gave off the illusion that the defense, made big plays, and it did in some case. I mean, I'm
Towards the
counting
end.
special teams defense.
Yeah. Well, they
Um,
starkly are not.
yeah, I know. But
We'll talk about the defense later.
the offense did its part. I mean, Jordan Love throws the pick. They got
Just a misfire.
stonewalled. Yeah, they got stalled out on the literally came a yard away from a touchdown on a fourth down that
Yep.
this game could have looked a lot different that got completed. But the offense didn't look bad. Like again, it just comes down to execution. It's annoying to keep talking about this, and it's going to be a thing
Uh,
for for the rest of the season. But the offense, in my opinion, and you have to count the big plays for it because I think
yep.
that's your counter. Yeah, there you go.
No, I'm not countering with that. I'll counter a second.
Um, but I was pleasantly surprised by how the offense looked. It's just, again, the red zone, even when they were 3 of 5, which again also doesn't feel that way, but it felt more unsuccessful than it did, being 60% on 5 trips. Um, it's just fine tuning those situations and making sure you're, seeing the end zone and not leaving more points on the board because in a game like today where it literally comes down to a blocked field goal, leave with your head held high that you made the rose to the occasion, made the big play, but that's not repeatable. Took 85 years to do it again.
Right.
You know,
First time in 85 years the Packers have a game-winning field goal block. But no, to
they're
talk.
playing the Cleveland Rams, which just doesn't make
No, it
sense.
doesn't.
That doesn't make sense.
The I will push back on the offense looking good. I think they looked good for the most part. Actually, I'm not pushing back on them looking good. I'm pushing back on the execution that you said that you didn't like the execution. I think they executed well today. They didn't make a lot of mistakes. I think the only boneheaded play was like a penalty in like the third quarter or something. I forget what it was. It might have
Let
been,
me go to my notes because I think I know what you're talking about.
yeah, it's a penalty um on oh, I think it was Elton Jenkins being downfield
Yes,
on a
there was an ineligible receiver.
yeah, so it was a run pass option. Love pulls it and throws it instead of runs it. And
Yeah,
so Elton Jenkins was downfield. That's a penalty. And so like that did happen till the third quarter, but they didn't have any. I don't think they had any holdings today. They didn't have any. I think they might have. No, I don't think they had a false start. But like I think the penalties got cleaned up a whole lot, which is really encouraging. And so I thought they
yeah.
executed well comparatively to how we've been talking about the offense the entire season thus far. And again, from wherever they start their drives to the red zone, I thought they played quite well on offense. I don't know what has turned Matt LaFleur's red zone offense into a pumpkin as of the last 2 years, but it hasn't been good. And
Three.
yeah, and I don't want to sit here and wonder about like Adam Stanovich's role in the offense, but like I had that thought today when it looked so bad. It was like if it continues to be like this, I wonder if we see a change with Adam Stanovich being the offensive coordinator and get somebody else in there because it's not like this offense is humming like it needs to. We've talked about all season about how this offense has potential to be very good. Instead, they're really good for halves or stretches of time rather than putting together a full 60 minutes of offense. We've seen it like maybe once or twice this year. And so I'm encouraged that they cleaned up all of their dumb mistakes that they were having on offense and defense, honestly, for most of the game. I think they only had Xavier McKinney's roughing or unsportsmanlike conduct on Caleb Williams was very soft. I disagree with the call wholeheartedly, but execution wise, I think it was fine. I just think the play calling isn't inspired in the red zone. I think it might have gotten a little stale, but on the second to last, maybe third to last drive on the first and goal drive when they don't end up not scoring, you're on the 11-yard line and you run on first and second down, which like I understand like the idea because Josh Jacobs has been running so well all day long, but I think that's like where that play action pass comes from. Like do a short play action pass like a slant route over the middle to get something can keep them honest because I think everybody in the stadium knew they were going to run the ball on first and second down because it had been working so well. And I get it if it works well, don't go away from it, but I think you have to mix in those plays where everyone knows you're running pass kind of thing. And that was um, the touchdown that wasn't for Jordan Love, the rushing touchdown where he was extending the ball
Yeah.
over the pylon. I was talking to the Discord Packers chat, and I said like if they score there and they go for two, what I would have liked to see on that 2 point play versus a shotgun run, which is what they did, is line up in the eye and do a play action uh, pass and have Love bootleg out either direction and either run it in himself, or pass it to like Tucker Craft or Ben Sims or somebody in the flat. Like
Yeah.
I think that's a better play than to just telegraph a run. It isn't shotgun, so it's not entirely telegraphed, but like I feel like everybody knew they were going to run. You know what I mean? Like I don't think there was a whole lot of like surprise that they ran Josh Jacobs there, and that there's just no chance they were throwing it. So that's just my take on it. I'd like to see a little bit more play action pass mixed in when the running game is as effective as it was today. Like we talked about Josh Jacobs having good yards, but then Emmanuel Wilson has 2 carries for 17. Um, I thought Chris Brooks had 2 catches for 13 yards out of the backfield. He didn't have any rushes, but I thought he did, but I must have been mistaken. And then Jordan Love scampers for 18 yards on 4 carries.
Yeah.
But like at that point, just like make use of the running back that is having such an efficient day and such a good day. Make use of him in a different way using your other really good receivers. You know what I mean? I think that's like my one wish for this game is that they would have taken better advantage of how well they were running because I don't think they did just entirely.
I mean, it's all relative. I think part of the thing too is that we have to keep in mind is they only had the ball for 23 and a half minutes. Like the Bears were
That's
chewing up a lot of clock.
well, I mean to be fair, like so were the Packers. Like I think part of why this game ended up the way it did, they didn't have their fourth drive until the second half. And it's
Yeah.
because they were running the ball
It was a
so
fast game.
it was they were running the ball so effectively with Josh Jacobs that every like big first down was a run play, and like they were
Yeah.
running. Again, only 17 throws from Jordan Love, and if you are running all the time, the clock is running, and so what
Yeah.
really hurts is when you're a pound the run type of ball club, and you get into one of these games, is you have to execute in the red zone, right?
Yep.
And that's what happens is that they don't they have the interception that Love sails over Tucker Kraft's head, and then they have the first and goal that ends up not scoring points. If they score points on those 2 drives, even if it is just field goals, it's 26-19. They win by touchdown. And if they
Yeah.
score touchdowns, it's a blowout. And so this game like just felt bad because of how bad the red zone offense was, and because of the defense. But again, we'll get there in a second.
Yeah. Um, no, I just think, yeah, you hit it on the head with if you have fewer time or fewer minutes of the ball, lose a time of possession battle pretty starkly. It makes it reinforces the need to convert red zone opportunities. So when you march down the field, like again, the offense was looking good, at least moving the ball effectively, both in a run pass scenario. It wasn't lopsided in one way or the other. Love's interception, bad throw. It happens. Obviously, he's thrown 10 other picks before this
Yeah,
coming into the
it's
game.
not great.
It's not one of the worst interceptions that he's had, but I think by and large, I liked a lot of what he looked like, how he performed. I think I'm not trying to just be, Tom Brady, um, or anything like that, but there felt more juice behind his throws today.
I would agree with
And,
that. There was a lot of zip on his balls today.
yeah, and I think again, he's been hurt in multiple points
Yeah, and
in his
I think
leg.
yeah, and I think like that he wasn't on the injury report. I think Friday or at all this week, I forget. But I'm pretty
I
sure
don't think he was.
I don't think he had a designation. So he was obviously healthy, and he looked healthy. He had good runs out of the pocket when he needed to. He was able to maneuver the pocket when it got crowded quite easily. And like you said, like I think that I think the throw that sailed on him was just that. It sailed on him because he had a a good arm behind it, and it just it went too far with Tucker Kraft's head. But yeah, I would agree that he looked pretty good today. The interception, not a great throw. And then there was a third down play with Romeo Dobbs on an out route, on a third down that was a little low. Dobbs had his hands on. He should catch it, but it's also
Yeah.
like if that ball is just a foot higher
It
in
wasn't,
his chest, he probably catches it for sure. It's a first down.
yeah.
Those are the only two throws I was like questionable about essentially.
The one throw that really kind of I was like, oh, and it ironically was the only third down that they converted today, which is kind of shocking. Again, just a lot of weird statistical anomalies with this game and how the score, like final score
Well,
ended.
they had 10 first downs. No, I'm sorry, they had 18 first downs. So that, and like they had
I'm seeing 19 on ESPN.
from 19 they had one via penalties.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
But
So yeah, 18 first downs, and they only converted one third down for a first.
they had 5 opportunities to.
Weird.
And they were 0 for 1 on fourth down. But like that, I mean, that's just how this game was. Like they were moving
Yeah.
the ball well until they got into the red zone, and so
Yeah.
it was tough. And I think like for all intents and purposes, like they should have lost this game. Like looking at like the stats, it's kind of like eye opening to see how kind of bad a story the stats tell. The Bears outgained the Packers today, 391 to 366. Bears won the turnover battle. They got one to the Packers 0. Uh, Bears had 23 first downs, so the Packers 19. And again, like you mentioned, in time of possession, 36 for the Bears, 23 for the Packers. And change in there to get you the extra minute, but um, Bears had more total rushing yards and um, like by a lot. Bears had 179 rushing yards in large part because they started using Caleb Williams' legs again. I guess before we get into Caleb Williams and all that, like, is there anything else you want to say in the offense before we move on to the defense? Is there anything else you want to talk?
No,
Oh, actually, I
I
lied. We have to talk about Christian Watson, everybody. we
yeah, yeah, of
we have
course.
people to talk about.
Just to wrap the bow on Love, I thought the first and kind of dovetail it into Chris Watson. The first throw that Love completed to Watson was on a third down, third and
That
10,
was
I think, too.
a
And
laser
I
of a
was
throw.
watching that, and it was again kind of playing a high wire act of threading the needle, pressure coming down on him. But it's a throw that he was not making previously. A
Nope,
lot of those throws would have had a little bit more loft to him
I
and
agree.
probably would have been interceptable.
Yep,
Whereas this is like tight window. He hits him on the dot,
right in the
right in that
chest.
boom.
Yeah, it was a
Um,
great throw.
yeah. So I was very encouraged by how he looked. I think people glom onto the interception and realize, hey, that happens whether you're healthy or not. And if you're 13 or 17 and you throw 300 passing yards, like again, just healthy Jordan Love is what makes this team whole. But Christian Watson, yeah, like what, 4 catches, 150 yards.
Yep,
Um, just incredible. Just incredible. It's kind of, again, it's one of those games that
probably his second
reminds
best game
you,
as a Packer.
yeah,
The
yeah.
Dallas game was his
Their
first.
Dallas game is always going to be the benchmark
Yeah,
because that was just like just crazy.
yeah.
But it was the kind of like game where one, they're completing the big passes. He's making tough catches, as I mentioned with that third down conversion. Um, the crazy route running on the yards after the catch after on that big 60-yarder
I
was
wish he would have kept it
like
outside versus trying to cut it back inside. I think he could have outran whoever was chasing him if he just kept it outside towards the sideline.
probably he probably should have.
Yeah,
But yeah, again, he just brings a dynamic that they will always need. And for by and large, I'm going to be very curious the snap counts because I don't now that I'm looking at the box score. Dontavian Wicks had only one target,
I mean,
no
it,
catches,
it was
yards,
in
or
the
anything.
first quarter. I think might have been the first drive. It
Yeah,
was either the first drive or the third drive,
and
and it was broken up.
considering his struggles this year, just getting more snaps for Chris Watson,
Yep.
getting more work for him. Like he is there. That's the guy that if you want to go over the top, if you have a big play threat, if you want to beat a one-on-one, just play, just have him run. We always got like early on, especially the first season of our podcast, because we would be really frustrated by how they use Christian Watson. And it was like, are you just running a 40-yard dash or you just like that? It felt like every route was just that. But now it's like, it's not that. He has a little bit of versatility with his route running abilities. And, you know, obviously a lot of it's more so about his health issues more than anything of like what is ailing him. But the things that he can do to become a complete receiver beyond just getting the production, being healthy, and all that stuff is like he's kind of getting there. It's just a matter of are you going to feed him the ball like his dad clearly wants on social media, or are you are you like I don't know. I'm very happy for him that he had a game like this today that reminded us all of why he's such a special talent in the first place because it's there.
Yeah. To your point, I pulled up the next gen stats for his routes this game. Um, None of the gadget stuff obviously hasn't been used as a gadget player since last year, and I think that's probably for the best considering his injury
Yes.
history. But um, four routes. Well, he had many more routes ran today, but for the catches, the there was two on the left side outside the numbers. One is like a little like fade towards the sideline that he catches for I think a 25-yard gain. Then he has a looks like to be a not a curl, but that was the comebacker on the third down where it looked like
Oh,
probably an out
yeah.
route or slant to the or a post to the sideline that he came back for. But then the other one, the big 60-yarder, that one was just like a deep slant over the middle, like a not a hard over the middle sort of parallel to the line of scrimmage, but fading away towards the sideline kind of thing. So and then but then his obviously his deep ball, same thing. Like it was not a go route straight line, but he brought his defender across the defense and stuff like that. Like he's running good routes, and so I'm glad that to your point that he's not just the go route guy anymore. And so
Yeah.
uh yeah, Christian Watson like it's his I believe it, no not I believe it is his career high for yardage in a game with 150. His second most was the Philadelphia game where he had that really long touchdown from Jordan
Mm.
Love, coincidentally. And then Dallas, he had 107. And then in the season finale that year, he had 104 against the Lions. But yeah, smashes his career high of 150. And I think, like, just the guy that they need him to be, right? For the first month and a half, it was Dontavian Wicks who was getting a lot of looks because I think the Packers and fans and I think everybody involved with the organization was very excited about what the potential of what he could be. But clearly he's had a sophomore slump and has some kinks to work out when getting the drops out of his system. And so with that, they won with their stars today. Like again, it wasn't the prettiest, but Christian Watson, 4 targets, 4 catches, 150 yards. Jaden Reed, 2 catches, 2 targets, 23 yards, and the touchdown. Romeo Dobbs, two targets, 1 catch for 17 yards on an important, I think, second down that got him a big first down. And then Josh Jacobs, 5 targets, 4 catches for 58 yards. Like that's where their offense lied today, and that's good. That's how you should be winning. Ironically, Tucker Kraft's only target was the interception. Like he
Hmm.
wasn't really in the mix today. And so I think this is sort of the game plan moving forward, right? We don't need a whole lot of Dontavian Wicks or Bull Melton or Malik Keith in there, like when these guys are cooking, right? And again, this is a game in which they didn't really pass the ball a whole lot, and so you can get some more Tucker Craft targets in there, and like I think like this is a good balanced offense. Like again, 25 throws to 17 passes. That's again not perfectly balanced, but it's not super
25 runs, right?
25 runs total, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, 18 like or 20 true runs, 21 if you count
Hmm.
Jaden Reed's reverse that went for -5 yards. But like I think that's just like the solution moving forward. Just target your guys, your studs as much as you can and play with them. I this offense has strength in numbers with the guys they have behind the studs, but I don't think they should be going to them as often as they need to be,
That's the
or
point that I
how
was gonna
often
make.
they have been throughout the first what maybe 6 games this season, 7 games this season. They're 7-3. They played 10 games. Like what, 7, 10, 7, 8 games. I feel like we didn't see a whole lot
I,
of it
it,
in the Detroit game, and then we see a whole lot of it this game. So I think they're kind of like figuring out that hey, if you play the good players, good things should happen.
well, and again, I think it's more so of the cream rises to the top. Like
I think that's a better way to put it. Yeah,
Tucker Kraft is, I mean, one, he's the healthiest tight end that they have.
I would
He's the
say
most
like
productive.
I would say the healthiest. I think him and Ben Sims are probably equally healthy.
No, I think he's the healthiest. He's really healthy. I saw those pictures of him smoking a
I
cigarette.
was gonna say,
Um, but he's the most productive tight end by far. It's, as much as okay, how many receivers do they have? Like coming out of preseason, like Bo Melton's emerges is a good feel good story of like this guy catching out the team that, you know, he had supplied some good plays this year. But it's the straw that stirs the drink. It's the
see,
Dobbs.
see,
It's
I was gonna call it Christian Watson the straw that stirs the Packers offense's drink, but I feel like we've used that too many times for too many players. I
well,
didn't
there's a
want
lot
to
of
use it.
straws.
There's a lot of drinks when it comes to watching comes to watching the Packers.
Well, I mean, that's what happened. We're in Wisconsin, of course. Um, no, I think your point is correct of just like one, I think it's hard to judge of like this spread it around. Like you can spread it around with the guys that are your best playmakers. Your guys that are gonna make plays after the catch, make contested catches. Are you gonna diamond this guy up for even, with the red zone struggles that they have? Who are your go-to guys? And they have a good four, at least bona fide pass catchers that I would say you can go at anybody on this play and I wouldn't be mad. Right?
I mean, I would totally agree. Totally
Like they
agree.
all have their own merit of this is the situation. If you go to him, and really that's all you want essentially when you're going to have three receivers at tight
Yeah,
end. And I'm not even counting for the fact that Josh Jacobs is, again, as you mentioned, kind of the balance beam to this
yeah.
um, offense in general. So yeah, like we'll get into the defense probably in like minutes,
Like
but
right now, probably.
I again I think this we should take comfort in the fact that the offense looked really good today, and it helped that Jordan Love looked pretty damn good outside of one throw.
Yeah, I think that's
Two.
good. Yes, too. I'm pleasantly happy with the offense. I'll say that for on the whole is how I'll leave that. They still have to fix up the red zone, but outside that 20-yard line, they're really moving the ball. So, alrighty, let's get into that defense because I I really didn't agree with a whole lot of the plan versus Caleb Williams today. I think it's fine to come out against this team and see what they've got and see what's going on. But I think coming out of halftime, we didn't see that stark adjustment that we've seen at halftime from the defense all year. Like very rarely did they come out of halftime and have the same issues they were having in the first half in the second half. And that's very much what happened in this game. Like as we mentioned, Caleb Williams runs all over the Packers. 9 carries for 70 yards. That's it just can't happen. And DeAndre Swift, 14 carries, 71 yards. Roshan Johnson, 10 carries for 33 yards. Like, all three of those guys had really good days on the ground. Like, Roshan Johnson had a couple of pretty big plays where he got first downs or got fourth down conversions.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that angered me the most with, I mean, one of the two things that angered me the most with the defense is that they were seemingly just perfectly fine getting dinked and dunked on all day today. Like I really want to see after this game, like the PFF stats and like the pro stats, what Caleb Williams' average depth of target was, because I can't imagine it was more than 2 to 3 yards down the field. Like he had some dots for sure that were some really good throws. He played very well today, probably the best game he's had the entire year. Just like quarterback wise, like I think he looked like the number one pick he's supposed to be today. And so, but from a defensive side of the ball, like they were just okay with the Bears marching down the field all day long. And it was, frankly, maddening because it's just that shouldn't be the standard, right? Like they should be not okay with them getting first down upon first down upon first down. And that's kind of what happened all day long. And the second thing that I was annoyed about is, golly, does Jeff Halfley love showing blitz but not blitzing, especially
Oh yeah.
today, especially today. And I think it drove me crazy that it took until the final drive of the game for them to actually really start blitzing, like when they needed it the most. But like this game didn't feel good the entire way. They were down at times, like multiple times during this game, for probably most of it, honestly, for looking at the,
Most of the second half at least.
yeah. And so, um, well, no, they were down 10-7 at halftime too. Like it's that, why not get to the blitz earlier? Like I forget if I'm in the third quarter or maybe early in the fourth. Tom Brady circles Quay Walker and Edrin Cooper over the A gap and goes, "All right, they're showing blitz. You guys are they're gonna have to cover this. Something they haven't been able to do all year long was the Bears were having trouble blocking blitzes over the A gaps, and there were six guys on the line, and
Yeah.
three drop back, and they rushed three. It's like, what are we? What's this? What are we doing? Like, I'd rather make Caleb Williams make the throws like he did on that final drive before I stop blitzing, because the Bears offensive line isn't good, especially inside. Like
No.
we saw it at the end of the game. Like Brenton Cox Jr. got one early in the game where he comes unblocked off the edge and reads the read option perfectly. So like great on Brenton Cox Jr. I'm really happy he had a good game today. And then who got the second one later in the game? And like got the first
Rashawn.
one. No, he got one. He had the second one in the second one on the fourth in the fourth quarter on that final drive. It was, oh, why can't I
TJ
spell it?
Slayton.
Yeah, Slayton got the first one. So D lineman, like a D tackle, gets the first one, and that's a good inside push. Like that's great. And then Gary gets the second one. I'm glad he hung on to him because that was great. They almost get a third one on 3rd and 19. Edrin Cooper, Enigbare, I forget. Actually it might have been. I think it was Enigbare jumps over his lineman to try and get Caleb Williams, and he scampers and throws a first down. But like when they blitzed on the throw to, I think it was Odunze on the right hand side by the sideline, they were blitzing, and Caleb Williams makes that throw. That's fine. I'm fine with that throw happening the first three quarters, right?
Yeah.
Make him make that throw when all they were doing was throwing 3 yards beyond the sticks. But they didn't do it like the entire game. It took them forever to blitz. Like if push comes to shove in the first half, and Caleb Williams is absolutely like just dicing up your blitz packages and finding the open guy in man coverage, and especially in a game without Jair after he goes down after coming into the week questionable with his same knee injury in the first quarter. Like, fine, but let him beat you first. Don't just assume he's going to beat you. And I think that's the biggest issue I had with the defense today. And I haven't had an issue with like Jeff Hadley's defense a lot this year. I think this is the first game where I was like really kind of wondering what the game plan was coming in because it wasn't get after Caleb Williams. It wasn't protect down the field because they didn't do well that either. I don't think he had too many passes down the field that were incomplete. I can check those next gen stats in a moment, but I just wonder what the game plan was because it didn't make a whole lot of sense to me while watching it.
No, I think it was very um disconcerting. I think one probably the biggest thing for it was for a team that was had a bye week last week, well rested, Jair notwithstanding, they had some boosts with like Evan Williams coming back, or the defense by and large was healthy, and they were just beat to the punch. Like there are a lot of walls, there are a lot of running lanes. I know Caleb Williams did a lot of stuff freelancing, but a lot of those scrambles came in like the most universal way that you beat the Packers is pocket shrinks. All four guys are kind of like doing the, you know,
They're all overextending,
yeah, overextending,
breaking
you know,
contain, all of it. Like,
break contain and opens up the middle of the
mm,
field because everybody's back in coverage. Like, so I
oh
think that to
man,
me is like, and I would agree with you. I think a lot of the things that, yeah, you could say like this didn't look good, but like it was part of the game plan of taking this away. We can't take everything away, but we're going to limit what we can. And I just felt like probably safely, maybe since the Brazil game, but that also comes with its own set of like weird circumstances. Um, it felt like the first week where they just didn't have a very clear game plan of what to take away. And
totally
part
agree,
of that,
totally agree.
maybe that is understandable to the fact that hey, the Bears just fired their offense coordinator. What was on tape is not what we're going to run with because it's a new voice.
That's a great point, Jordan. Like that could very well be it. I
It
still
still is not great
it's still
that
not
they
great. Didn't take away anything.
no.
Didn't even take
Well,
away the
I
run
think
game. Didn't even take away the run game.
no. That's yeah. I think it's more worrisome that when it comes to making plays, and we talked about that with the defense earlier this season. It's like, yeah, you can get away. That's your saving grace. Is that you have Xavier McKinnon, having five straight games of interceptions, or you're forcing fumbles. Evan Williams is emerging as this, with game saving plays and a game saving stop and like stuff like that. But when those kind of, whether it's actually producing turnovers or producing fourth down stops or whatever, the chances of those repeating are slim. So, what do you have to fall back on with the structure of the defense that you're trying to build? And today was a big step back on that. Ironically, like as much as the pass rush showed up at least by the end of it, it still came down to the field goal for what it's worth.
Yeah,
But
which was
like,
probably mismanaged by Matt Eberflus.
yeah, I'll say for sure. Um, but the worrisome or the worries that we had about like how would they fill in for how would the edge rushers look without Preston Smith? It's Brendan Cox is a player. He's someone that's going to fortify that edge rotation. I think he looked better than Lucas Van Ness did because I think Lucas Van Ness just is like doesn't have the juice.
He had an offside penalty today. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he I don't know, he's running like a white lumberjack trying to cut down a
Yeah,
tree.
I don't know what the process is for him to get better. Like I don't think he made a whole lot of like plays today that I really like noticed. I'm
No.
glancing at the box score, and unless I'm blind, he didn't have a tackle today. Like If
You're
you
not blind.
like if you're an edge rusher and a guy up front, to not even get a tackle on a game where they had what they ran the ball 34 times and you can't get a tackle one of those times,
Yeah.
it's a little concerning. I will say like I was very happy on the TJ Slayton block, I believe, or the sack. That's that sack. Finally getting guys shedding blocks. Like that was he
Yeah.
got off his guy and made the tackle on Caleb Williams for the sack. Like that's good progress. Good for TJ Slayton. Like I'm like not to be that guy, but like Aaron Mosby had a tackle today, and
Hmm.
he's playing a lot fewer snaps than Lucas Van Ness is. So I don't know. Like I think this defense is still good. I think this defense still has like good players. We need guys to be more impactful consistently because right now it feels like it kind of comes in waves every couple of games where guys are having impacts, right? Like Rashawn Gary gets a sack this week, first in a couple weeks, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think he had one against the Lions. He might have.
Texans game was a big game,
Yeah,
but
but that
that's what,
was
3 weeks ago?
4 weeks ago.
4, including the bye.
Right. And so like that's what I'm saying. Like I need these guys to be more active consistently. I need guys to be consistently making plays on the defense if they want to get to where they want to go.
It, it's just a matter of physicality too. Like
I mean, yeah.
seeing how many times, like now that I'm very clued in on it, of just like Clay Walker just gets
Oh
swallowed up by
God.
every blocking wall.
I'll be
Like
surprised if he gets his fifth year picked
I
up.
think
I'll
we
be
took
very surprised because the Roshan Johnson touchdown today, he met Roshan Johnson in the hole and just didn't make the tackle.
yeah.
I think Andy Herman tweeted that video out if you want to go look at it. It's not an inspiring video. And I just don't. Same thing. I don't know how he's wearing the green dot in his third year, and he isn't setting the level for like intensity and making plays. Right, like your middle linebacker is supposed to be that guy, and he's just starkly not that guy.
No. It's yeah. I think it was just a lot of stuff that I don't know. Maybe just how the Bears came out and tried. I mean, they were doing some interesting things, but like I do think a lot of it was just like it was the improvisation that Caleb Williams is bringing to the table. That
Yeah.
it's like, how do you game plan for that? Well, you don't because it's just on the fly,
Well, I
react to the
think
moment.
I,
But
I, I won't even call it like improvisation. I think he just took what was given to him, right?
yeah,
Because there was so much of just the Red Seas parting and there being nobody in the middle. Like I think it was the second quarter when Quay Walker was in coverage with the running back and Caleb Williams was running like scrambling and he had to make a decision either go with uh Roshan Johnson or go tackle Caleb Williams and he goes with the running back because he thought he was still behind the line, right?
yeah,
But I mean that's just the play that's there because there was nobody spying Caleb Williams, which like again there was no evidence of that they needed to do that in the first place over the first 9 weeks of the season, 10 weeks of the season. But I think it's still something that should have been having an adjustment made at halftime, and that's where my most concern is. There wasn't the adjustment. They didn't come out looking better at half, so
no,
that's just that's part of my issue.
I agree.
Trying to think of who else to talk about. Evan Williams, he came back. He played fine, I'd say. Uh Xavier McKinney, played well, a couple of tackles. He got absolutely juked out of his shoes on the DeAndre Swift
Yeah,
touchdown, but that'll happen. He led the team in tackles today. Him and Carrington Valentine. There's someone we can talk about. Carrington Valentine was barbecue chicken all day today, which like I can't give him too much grief. He's a former seventh round pick, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, him and Corey Valentine were not great today, and it's just
no,
it was tough, and it's hard to be in that situation uh where Jair goes down and it's next guy up, and you didn't really expect that guy to be up so soon, kind of thing. I mean, I didn't. Eric Stokes had one tackle today. I don't think they were throwing at him much, which is weird because like I didn't see his number much at all on my screen. So I'd be curious to know how many times they threw at him this game
or how many snaps he had.
or how many snaps he had. That's a
Because the
good point too.
one, the going back to my notes, the 4th and 3 that the Bears converted to keep that final drive alive after the sacks from Gary and Brendan Cox Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Keyshawn Nixon was outside.
Yeah,
So
yeah, because that was the one
yeah,
to Odunze, right? Yeah, that loft up to Odunze. Another. I mean, I'm trying to give Keyshawn the benefit of the doubt. The good throws, good catch thing rears its ugly head again against Rome Dunze, and that's all I'm gonna say.
yeah,
I don't know.
I
Cornerback needs to be addressed. That's for sure.
yeah, especially Jair's.
Gonna be up and down because it sucks that they get one guy fixed and Christian Watson's been healthy all year. Knock on some wood, and then the next guy snake bitten is Jair.
Yeah, I mean this is more defensible than what was the problem last year, but um, yeah, I think the overall message of the Bears did enough to win this game, and of course it comes down to the final play. The fact that Caleb Williams for he's no Tyson Badgett according to Travis Badgett.
We're not getting back
Um,
into it.
I'm just saying that was my only time with it.
Oh my god, I have bad news. Eric Stokes had 4 snaps.
Yikes! Are you serious?
Yeah, according
So yeah,
to
he
Packers Total Access on Twitter.
so he ooh.
Carrington Valentine had
Did he get
64.
hurt? He must have got maybe
I don't
that
know,
could have been it.
maybe, but um, Jair played more snaps than him,
And
and Jair
yeah,
got hurt. Yeah, for corners it was, or for secondary, Xavier McKinney played all 72. Evan Williams played 71. Carrington Valentine played 64. Corey Valentine only played 1. Um, Eric Stokes played 4. Jair played 10. Javon Bullard played 52. So
interesting.
they're leaning into the young guys, and yeah, that's not great for Stokes. Not great whatsoever. But yeah,
No,
I think I'm more sympathetic to Keyshawn Nixon now. Like he's not an outside corner. He is not an
no,
outside corner, and he's being forced to play there because of injuries and just hit the rest of the corners stinking.
it's not great. It's not great for
No,
what you want to see. Um, yeah, that'll be something to monitor if
going
there's
forward.
any. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and his injury status for sure. But
um,
I feel like this podcast has a somber note to it considering they won. I don't like it.
but this is. I was kind of gonna like. I feel like we're beating around the bush, but it does. Whether I had this thought going, knowing that they won, knowing that it came down to how it did, knowing that it was a 20-19 win, it's just like they win. Lessons can still be learned, but it's not pretty. And how many? Let's try to go through the game, um, game
Ga-
by game that they won. Um,
Colts.
that
Colts
was pretty decided.
that well, nah.
It was close, but it was
It was close, but they didn't convert on a couple of things. That Malik Willis played well. Titans was pretty decisive. Um, but then Rams not decisive. Cardinals decisive. Texans
mhm,
not decisive.
down
Jaguars
on the
not
last play.
decisive.
Down on the
The
last
last
play.
play. Lions they decisively lost.
So their
And
last
Bears
three
last play
wins, their last 3 wins were all decided by the final play.
by the final play. Yeah. And you can contribute that to a multitude of things over the past month. Like there's a lot of different variables that play into how they like why they won or lost. I think looking optimistically, this game is the easiest one to come away from with like a positive feeling about. Offense looked good. The defense looked bad, but because they didn't make an adjustment at halftime, and because to his credit, I forget the guy's name, the new offensive coordinator, the passing game coordinator. That's
Thomas Brown.
Thomas Brown had a hell of a game plan for Caleb Williams today. Like, wouldn't surprise me if he keeps the job. If that entire staff sticks around and this keeps up. I mean, I know that you can side eye me all you want. If they game plan like this and they play like they did today, I wouldn't see why not. Like they moved the ball quite well today, and so again, only scored 19 points, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think like coming out of the Jaguars and the Texans game, it was mental errors and then mental errors again, and then bad throws by Jordan Love a couple games in a row. He only had the one bad throw today. I'm not gonna hark too much on that, but I think going into next week, you come back home against the 49ers. I think the team's hopefully a little bit more focused.
Speaking of a team that lost on the last play of the game, I believe.
Yep. Or pretty close at the end. Geno Smith had a touchdown at the end of the game to win it for him. But I think George Kittle went down today. I'm not really sure what his status is. So that's a big loss for them. Obviously, they have a couple other injuries, don't they? I forget what Brandon Ayuk is doing. If he's doing anything of
He's
significance.
out. He's out of the out for the year.
He tore his ACL, right? Or did
Yeah.
something. Yeah, not ideal, obviously, but yeah, a team that is I'm not gonna say floundering, but they're 5-5. Like
No, they're not good.
I would say they're not good. I would
Mhm.
just say they've had tough losses. Their five losses are to the Vikings in week 2, the Rams in week 3, the Cardinals is a tough loss, but they lost to the Chiefs, and then today against the Seahawks. The Seahawks aren't bad, and so they play a tough schedule. Like there's a reality that the Niners don't make the playoffs. Honestly,
They're currently tied. Or they. Sorry. Let me start over. Cardinals are 6-4. The Rams are 5-5. Seahawks are 5-5. The 49ers are 5-5. But the 49ers are last in their division based on, I'm assuming, tiebreakers and
yeah,
stuff like that. And they have the highest point differential in their division, which is insane.
that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. I'm looking at their schedule.
Football.
Look at the schedule. I'm wondering why that is. Like they didn't really have a bunch of blowouts. Like their two best wins are 32-19 and 30-13. Like us
Yeah.
everyone like the rest of the teams are winning that close. But
Or
um
they're losing very close games, which I
yeah,
feel like has been happening.
yeah. And also like
Yeah, they.
The Niners schedule is hard going forward.
Oh
It's
yeah,
hard. The Niners schedule going forward is Packers, Bills, Bears, Rams, Dolphins, Lions, Cardinals. That's a
they're
tough
not
end.
making the playoffs. I'm telling
They
you that right now.
they might not. But like regardless, like the San Francisco game, the guys are gonna be fired up for. They're gonna want to get revenge on the team that knocked them out of the playoffs last year and what could have been a Super Bowl run. And then they play on Thanksgiving against the Dolphins at home, which should
Yeah,
be a decently easy game to win. I'm not gonna say what it's going to be, but they won against them 2 years ago, and they're not as good this year. They won today against the Raiders, I believe. But then
yes,
they get to go back to Detroit the Thursday after Thanksgiving, and so like this is a good stretch of games where they can really kickstart the end of the season because they end the season Seahawks, Saints, Vikings, Bears, and Saints and Bears are at home. Seahawks and Vikings are away, but this is a good chance to get these 3 games, get a win, or get 3 wins here, 3 important wins, I'd say, and then see how the rest of the season goes the rest of the way. Like again, you guys are gonna freaking laugh at me, but like all of these games are winnable. The Lions, I'll pump the brakes on.
yeah.
I think they have 1 or 2 losses over the next 7 games, and so I mean, again, optimistically, I'm trying to be in a good mood about after
They just
on a
beat the
victory
pants off
Monday.
the Jaguars so bad that Doug Peterson should be fired,
Dog, the
whether he
Jaguars
will.
stink and Trevor Lawrence didn't play. It was Mac
I know.
Jones. Like the Jaguars stink, and it took the Packers beating him by a field goal at the end of the game to beat him in Florida.
Yeah.
In Florida, that's an important distinction. But I mean, the Saints stink nowadays. Just beat the Bears. The rest of the games are hard, no doubt about it. They're all playoff teams the rest of the way, besides the Saints and the Bears. It's 5 playoff teams. Well, pump the brake. The Dolphins are 4-6. I might have lied, but they're better than what the record shows because of the games that Tua sat out. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see. Also,
I
we forgot to shout out Daniel Whalen. He punted one time this game, I'm pretty sure. And I was in the
yeah, I
car.
think you're right.
I was in the car going to the grocery store because I forgot a bag of groceries at the store and had to go back during the game to get them. And all I remember is like, "Hey, Daniel Whalen, I'd really appreciate it if you pinned him back deep," and he did. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah,
Matt
one.
Orzek off my team. Off my team. He rolled in an extra point to Daniel Whalen, who fixed the hold, and Brandon McManus kicked it for a good extra point or field goal. I forget which one it was. But yeah, Matt Orzek
It would have been an extra point.
off my team. Off. I need a better long snapper. Hold open tryouts. I will go do it. I did it for like 6 games in Pop Warner in 4th grade. I don't know what you're snapping about, but
I'm a long snapper.
God. With that, are you have anything else? 'Cause I think that's a great spot to end on.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, just want to say, reiterate, um, something so dear, um, written by Al Hoffman.
What are you getting into?
Uh,
I'm nervous for this.
we'll never forget the way you thrilled the nation with your T
I
formation.
forgot about this.
Bear down Chicago Bears and let them know why you're wearing the frown, says Trump.
Well, I think we got our thumbnail, so thanks for that one, Jordan. All right, folks, that does it for this episode of Talking to Tundra. Hopefully you're enjoying your victory Monday, relishing in the fact that the Bears still suck. I think that's the thing that we got to take away from this. The Bears still suck. They can't get out of their own way. There's multiple Chicago Bears fans that post their demise on social media for my viewing, and I appreciate every single one of them for it. So, thank you for suffering publicly. Go check out the Bucks feed for all things Milwaukee Bucks, Eurostep, and Win in Six. Bucks play. When do the Bucks play next, Jordan? They play Monday
Monday, because I'll
tonight.
be at the game.
Nice. Bucks play tonight as you're
Don't
listening to
embarrass me.
this against the Houston Rockets, who are 10-4. Jesus, I did not know that. Um,
Yeah.
so go check out your 1 and 6 and Eurostep for all things Bucks. Uh, as we talked about in the preview pod, cruising for a bruising, talking all things Brewers and the postseason awards. I believe MLB announces their um, big awards: MVP, Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, all that stuff on Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. But it's sometime this week. So go check out Cruising for all of that news, should there be any. And then make time for this with Adam and Andrew as well. All thanks pop culture. And of course, if you haven't already, go check out gspn.substack.com for the premium GSPN feed with all of our podcasts ad free, as well as GSPN After Dark, which is always a blast. If you're looking for content on Giannis's 59-point game against the Pistons, in which the refs tried to screw them out of it and screwed them out of the Hornets game, but they're not going to talk about the Hornets game regardless. Go check out GSPN After Dark because Ty and Andrew did a wonderful job talking about Giannis and that historic game. So if there's any pod that you should subscribe to the Substack for, $8 a month, it's for that one because it's a darn good one. And you have all the back
Hmm.
catalog of the rest of the GSP After Darks, which are a lot of fun. So thank you all for listening. Appreciate all of your support. And Jordan, thank you.
Thank you.